Yeah, no, I'll do it, and then you introduce Graham.
Okay, sure, yeah.
The Westport Library and the Quick Center for the Arts, in partnership with Apple Podcasts, is proud to present Oh Brother, Not Another Podcast with me, Miggs Burroughs.
And I'm Trace Burroughs, and today we're excited to have on our show one of the founding members of Air Supply, Graham Russell. They've had 8 top 10 hits in the United States, 17 studio albums, and they're playing at the Palace Theater in Stamford on October 23rd. Hi, Graham. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning, Grace. Good morning, Miggs. How are you?
Good.
Oh, great. So I noticed on your thing, if I can butt in right here, it says Lord Graham. Have you been knighted? You're a lord?
I'm a lord, yeah, but an English lord. They don't have it here, but I've kind of, and it's just because I own a place in England that had the title with it, you know.
Oh,
yeah, but I'm actually, because I'm a US citizen, I have been since 2008, but I'm thinking of letting it lapse and not using it at all. I try not to use it these days, you know.
well, how many people can say that?
So as a lord, what do you have, like, special opportunities that other people aren't given, or like
Really?
You have a kingdom?
None in the United States, of course, but in England you get certain privilege. But you know, I haven't lived there since oh God, how I left there in '68, and I haven't lived there. I just have some property there that allows me to go backwards and forwards if I feel like it. I still have my British passport, of course, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about the tour? It starts actually, we're recording this on September 1st. It starts in 2 days, right? The tour?
It does. Yeah. It does. Well, we've done some shows already. They kind of been warm-up shows, but they've been fantastic, and the reviews have been excellent. So we're very excited to be back out. Obviously, I think all musicians are, you know. But it's great. We're coming back. We're very refreshed and very eager to get out there and play again, and it's going to be a wonderful thing. I mean, I always say this, but every morning when I wake up, I'm so thankful to be able to do what I do, because I love to perform and create music, and I'm allowed to do it, and have been for almost 5 decades. So I'm very thankful every day, you know, that I'm able to carry on my career the way I like to do it, you know.
When was the last time you went on tour?
It was before COVID. It was March 2020. We did our last show in Utah, funnily enough. And we approached the promoter because COVID was really coming on. And we said, we're okay not to do the show. We were there. And he said, no, I want you to do the show. And that was the last show. Then we drove overnight to California to play in Los Angeles. And then it was canceled. Then everything hit the fan, you know. So it's been, 18 months almost.
Yeah. Like, because it's for like a lot of performance.
How much rehearsal do you like before you go on tour? I mean, is it weeks, months?
Oh, no. We rehearse for a week, you know. I mean, simply because the bulk of our show is big hit songs, you know. Fortunately, we've had so many big hits that they're always in the set. So the peripheral songs, the new songs, and the different arrangements don't take that long to put together, you know. So we rehearse for about a week, and then we're back up to snuff, you know.
What's the last song you've written?
Was Yesterday Morning at 6 a.m.
That's the name of it, or it was Yesterday Morning at 6 a.m.?
It's called Wrap Your Arms Around Me, and I think
it's
going to be one of my biggest songs ever.
Really?
Yeah, I really believe that. And you know, when a new song arrives, should I say, I have feelings about it, and I have incredible feelings about this one. But I'm sure every songwriter says the same thing, but we'll have to wait and see, you know.
Would you be willing to hum a bar or two, or you want to keep it on?
I would need my guitar with me, and it's over there, so you'll have to wait for that one.
Okay, well, that's great. That's a scoop.
I get up very early, you know. I usually get up about 5:30, and I like to play my guitar for a couple of hours before the day begins. And I usually come up with something. This one really came along, and I could feel it coming, and it was that incredible feeling that I'm sure most songwriters get when they feel something coming on. It's such a great feeling, and I'm so blessed to be able to have that ability, you know.
Do you try to write a song like each day? I mean, or are you preparing for a new album?
No, I write each day. Yeah, I spend 2 hours on my guitar, then I'll go and play my piano for a couple of hours, and usually something will happen, or I'll get an idea, or I'll just write the whole song. You know, it's a mystery. You know, songwriting for me is the biggest mystery in the universe. I really don't know how to do it. It just
done
happens,
well, considering that.
But it's a beautiful thing. I guess it's like nuclear physicists. They understand all the parameters of what they do for a living. You know, quarks and molecules and atoms. It's the same thing, I'm sure, for them. Once they discover something, it's like a eureka moment, and I'm very, very fortunate to be able to share those moments with the universe, wherever it comes from.
And the universe is grateful. Do you feel like you're actually channeling it? You know, there's that thing, the story that Paul McCartney about dreaming. You know, he dreamt the melody yesterday, and then it was scrambled eggs, and then it became yesterday. Have you dreamt full songs?
Oh, I do. Yeah. Normally, I do dream them, full songs, but not very often. But it's very difficult for me to wake up from it. So now I've kind of trained myself. If I hear a song in a dream, and I'll go, wow, that's a great song, that I've trained myself to say, hey, you're asleep, wake up and record it. So
cool. I wish I could do that.
I sleep next to, my phone is right next to me, and I record all my songs on my phone. You know, I don't have anything complicated or high tech. I just record all my songs on the phone because it's easy and it's right there.
Right. Do you have there must be a lot of, through the decades, a lot of other performers that have covered your music, right?
Yeah. I think the biggest one is All Out of Love. I think that's at over 150 covers, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but when you consider some of the Beatles songs, in fact, most of them, they're over 500. And I think Yesterday is the most covered song ever. And I think that's over 1,000. I mean, it's frightening.
It is.
Speaking of numbers, I was looking, you know, watching some of your videos. I mean, I'm well aware of your music, but Making Love Out of Nothing at All has 185 million views. And, but the follow-up question is not a question. That wasn't a question, but the follow-up is, that was written by Jim Steinman, right? Who wrote a lot of Meatloaf. So what is it like for you, a songwriter, to be, how did that come about? Does he offer you a song? Do you ask him to write a song? Did you collaborate?
We didn't collaborate. How it happened, you know, we were riding high. We'd had 4 or 5 big hits, and it was 1983. And Clive Davis, we were in New York. I can't remember what we were doing. We had lunch with Clive, and he said, Jim Steinman sent me this song. He said, I want you to have a listen to it. And at that point, you know, all the songs had been mine. But I've always had this philosophy. When you're in a band with one of the great singers of our generation, like Russell, I think it would be unfair for me to say, I only want you to record my songs, because he's a singer and he needs to sing other songs. And this song came along, and Clive had a copy of it. I think that's what the lunch was all about. He had it on a cassette, and he said, take this and have a listen. And Russell listened to it first, and he fell in love with it. And I listened to it, and I went, wow, it's great. The thing is, I was already a big fan of Meatloaf and Steinman, you know. So for me, it was like almost having a song written by Paul McCartney. So we met Jim, and the song was really long. It was 7 minutes, and I said, Jim, it's not going to fly being 7 minutes. And he was like, oh, really? I said, yeah, because all the Meatloaf songs were epic, you know.
Yeah.
So we got together, and he cut a few things out. And the next day, we went in the studio, and he had the band there. We arrived, and he used the E Street Band. And yeah, he had a great band. And Russell went in to sing it, the shortened version. And the song just sounded incredible, you know. But it was a big shift for us. You know, we were the big ballad kings of the world. And here we are with this really kind of heavy song, but still a love song nevertheless. But we just loved it. Clive said, this is it'd be so great for you. And it's no slight on me. I didn't care, you know. And Russell went in to sing it. And I was next to Jim in New York. I think it was the record plant. And Russell sang it down once. And Jim turned to me and he said, that was incredible. And I said, yes, it was. And then he said, I think that's it. And I said, I think it is too. So he sang it one take, and that was it. But you know, working with someone like Jim was such a thrill. You know, I mean, it was 1983. We hadn't been on the scene very long in the US, and here we were working with these incredible musicians and Jim Simon. It was incredible, you know, and that's how it came about. And of course, because it was Clive's suggestion, it was a great feather in Clive's cap, you know. Yeah.
So go ahead, Miggs.
I know this is sort of a hypothetical. So let's pretend you're a truck driver, a lorry driver, as they say in Britain, and you have a romantic date, and you have nothing to do with Air Supply, but you know all their music, and you bring this woman, you know, whatever, to your apartment, or you're somewhere, or jukebox. What Air Supply song do you play for your
seduction song?
Yeah, your seduction song.
It's got to be Lost in Love, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you play Lost in Love, it means that the person you're with, that you're falling in love with them, you know, and you can't help it. And I think that's the song. And the song is very even keel. It just has this message, and it doesn't get kind of bombastic like All Out of Love, for instance. It's a very even keel song, and you can get on the dance floor next to the jukebox, and you can dance to it. And I don't think there's anything. I believe that women think it's extremely romantic when a guy asks her to dance, even if he can't dance. It doesn't matter.
Really?
If you have the nerve to ask a lady to dance, I think the relationship is already begun.
Because that's always kept me from, because I can't dance, and I'm always too embarrassed to show that off. You know,
you're right. You know, it's most guys are that way. You know, but I think if you take the initiative and show this one that even though you may not be able to dance well, you want to share that moment with her. I think that speaks volumes. You know,
you get people like fans sending you letters saying, you know, you made, you know, my night or my marriage. You know, like,
or they name their baby after you because of the night. Have you?
Don't laugh. They do all of the. I mean, we have a meet and greet at every show we do, and we get the same stories, different stories, but the same context. You know, we met 30, 40 years ago. This is our song, and it's a great thing, you know, because you can see that their lives are built around, their soundtrack is part of your life too. The thing is, for instance, if they have take Lost in Love, for instance, if that's somebody's song and they say, oh, we play it all the time. But the thing is, we live it all the time. We play it every night. You know, we've done over 5,300 shows in our career.
Jeez.
So we live these songs. They are our soundtrack too, you know.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that must be really gratifying that your music, you're sharing people's great moments in their lives. the
Oh.
best moment of their lives. Is you've helped create
Yeah.
that.
I mean, what greater reward could you have? You know, you're part of people's lives, and not only that, it's a positive thing. It's not anything negative. It's a positive moment when they say that, and to be a part of that is such an incredible feeling. You know, it's hard to describe. But when we walk on stage, you know, every night, it's that moment of euphoria for us. We walk out because we're ready to give something to them, and it's reciprocal that everybody stands up and they kind of salute your longevity and what you've done, and it's just an incredible thing, you know.
And so, yeah, keeping it fresh. I mean, you know, 56, I mean, whatever, thousands of performances. So is it just that, you know, I mean, I've heard Broadway, people ask Broadway actors, you know, well, gee, you've done 600 performances of Music Man. How do you keep it fresh? And they go, well, the people in front of me have never heard it before, so I'm playing to them. Is that an attitude that you have?
Absolutely, yeah. The surroundings are different. It's a different theater, different people in front of you. So you have different points to look at, you know, and you're right. They're so full of enthusiasm and excitement. A lot of them are crying, you know. So you share in that with them, and then you play the song, and then they relive whatever moment they had with that song. So for us, it's bringing something, but they give just as much back to us too. You know, I'd hate to be in a band where the band doesn't enjoy it and just get up there just to do it. But we love every minute of it, you know, and it's a great thing, you know.
Have you ever been approached by Broadway producers because you have those great ballads, and it seemed like an Andrew Lloyd Webber kind of sound?
Yeah. Well, we have, and there's been several attempts to write a book, a story around our songs, but none of them have really garnered great attention yet. And in fact, I know there's two in the works right now. And there was one in the Philippines 3 years ago that we went to see, which was really good, but none of them have really, we've gone, wow, this is it, you know. And we get treatments and scripts sent to us, but none of them have crossed that line yet. But you've got to believe one of them will soon, because the music, you would imagine, is perfect for something like that, you know.
And across his generations. Well, and you met at an Andrew Lloyd Webber Jesus Christ Superstar, right? I mean, that's where you
Russell.
We
were almost 2 years. And I write musicals too. I've just finished my 6th one. Well, I haven't made it to Broadway yet, but I'm getting close. But I don't write books or the script, you know. I just write the music. So I'm waiting for someone to send us a script, a Broadway script, even if it's in its infancy, that might be relevant to the music, and we would certainly look at it. It's hard though, with all the songs, the big hits, they're all very romantic, obviously, but it must be hard for a storyteller or a writer to wrap a story around those. It must be very difficult, you know.
So you didn't write them with a story in mind, like an arc, boy meets girl, boy, you know, loses girl, boy, whatever.
Well, I do, when I write the song, the first thing, if I feel a song coming on, the first thing to address, a song has to have a story. And that's the first thing you've got to have. So I feel what the story is going to be, and I write a story in my head around it, but it's a musical story. But as far as dialogue, that's not my expertise, you know, although I can write lyrics on a dime. But dialogue is very different, you know. It has a different tempo.
Yeah. So film, like, how about film producers? They've probably approached you, like, we need a song for this film. Has that happened? Is that a thing?
A lot, yeah. But they usually want a song that's already existing. Like All Out of Love, for instance, has been in I think it's 23 movies so far.
Well, sure.
I mean, 2 years ago, it was in, I I can't remember the name of it now. You know, it was in a new movie. The guy in the spider suit. What's that called? Not Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man's the only guy in a spider suit.
A comedy, a dark comedy.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know.
You know what it is. Remember?
Well, I mean, they should be doing there should be a movie. I mean, your the story of the two of you, you know, the meeting and I well, and I'm going all over the place, but I have a very trivial question. But so I saw, you know, I watched it when it first came on, and I rewatched your interview on CBS Sunday Morning. Oh. And Russell is, you know, you're both, you know, I mean, you're this institution of romantic ballads, but Russell's wearing a shirt with skulls on it, and he has tattoos. So is there a dark side to Air Supply? Like, is there a dark Air Supply?
The dark side of Air Supply.
Yeah, the dark
news.
But now he's had his fingernails painted black.
Oh, okay.
He wears jeans and everything. It's really strange because no, he doesn't have a dark side at all. I often ask him why he has all the tattoos, or why does anybody get tattoos? I don't know the answer to that. But he has, like, he's covered head to foot.
Is he really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, his back, his front, everywhere. And it's a strange thing because, you know, when he sings those romantic songs, I mean, he puts everything into it, and he's recognizable, his voice, you know, and the women, they go, oh my God, here's that voice, you know, and yet he's covered in tattoos. It's bizarre, but you know, a lot of singers are these days. I mean, look at the guy from Maroon 5 and all those. Sure. Although none of them really have that romantic essence that Russell does, I don't think. I mean, we certainly carry that mantle, but it's weird that he's the tattoo guy, you know, and here am I'm the songwriter, and I don't have any tattoos.
You have none. Okay, that was my next question.
Oh, I'm the vegan guy that loves gardening.
I mean, once you have tattoos, if you're young and you say, oh, I love this tattoo, but you know, it's like a painting in your house. You change and you go, you can remove that painting, you know, and your taste change. Once you get that tattoo on, now you're like 70 years old. You put it on when you're 30, you go like, I'm not into that anymore. You know,
it's the Dorian Gray. So, you know, where the painting changes. But you're right. I mean, that doesn't appeal to me at all. The tattoo thing. I mean, I don't want to stand out in a crowd. I would rather blend into the wallpaper.
That's interesting, because obviously you're. So I have a question about. I mean, this tour again. It's almost a year long. I think it's right. Your tour. It's again to you know, we live in Westport, Connecticut. It's only 10 miles from Stamford, where you're going to play at the Palace Theater on October
23rd.
23rd, yes. So we encourage people to go see you there. But that's such a demanding, I mean, any tour, I mean, traveling is demanding. If I was to go to, you know, take a plane trip to Wyoming, it'd be demanding on me physically. So how do you mentioned vegan, how do you keep in shape, and what's your regimen?
My regimen is pretty strict. Well, not strict. I just like to do certain things every day. I work out every day. And even if we're traveling, I make time for it. You know, I really do. I do my yoga stretches morning and night. I do them right before I go on. But I'm no saint. I sound like I'm this purist, but I'm really not. I just need to stretch and to be in shape to do what I do, because I want the mental gratification. If I do my stretches and I travel with rubber bands, you know, that I stretch out, then mentally I'm on target, and I don't want to be lounging around and not doing anything positive. For me, that's very important. And I don't eat any bad food. You know, I usually take my food on the plane. When I'm home, like now, I grow most of my own food. You know, I have a massive house that's it's sunk into the ground. It's geothermal, and
really,
I grow everything there. You know, so
Do you cook as well? Do you cook your own food, or?
I do cook a lot. Yeah, I love Indian food. I cook Indian food.
Yeah.
You like
But
spicy?
I'm vegan. I don't eat any dairy or any meat of any kind. You know.
Yeah, spicy. Do you like the spicy Indian food?
I like spice from hell. Yeah.
You really? Oh, God,
I grow my own. I grow a dozen different varieties of hot peppers. I grow the Brazilian starfish, which is really spicy, and the ghost pepper.
I guess I admire people that do it. I know there's contests where they eat the jalapenos and these other peppers that just burn. You know, you can see their head explode. You know, but they love it.
It's a thing. People say that spicy food isn't good for your voice, but I differ on that one. I eat a lot of spicy food most days, and I never get a cold or anything. You know.
So you ever get? Sorry.
Yeah, it's always there at the show.
So do you ever get, like, sing and you get congestion? How do you fix? What do you use to remedy that?
I never get any congestion at all.
Yeah,
I think I never do. And even if I was to get a cold, which I very rarely get, there's no congestion or anything. And I think because I don't have any dairy, you know.
Oh, that's.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that.
I'm curious. You know, early on in your careers, you were very popular. I think you had more hits in Asia or in Asian countries than here, right? Before you broke out. What do you think is, I mean, if it's anything you can analyze in the cultural difference, why the music, you know, resonated with them before it resonated with us?
Well, there's a couple of reasons, I think. First of all, we were the first band to go to a lot of these Asian countries in the early 80s when nobody had been there. We were the first band in China, in Vietnam, in Seoul. And we went there very early. In fact, we first went to Japan before we broke in the US. We went to Japan in 1978. And consequently, we discovered they're very loyal fans. Now their grandchildren come. But the thing is with Asian people, which differs from the West, in my opinion, they're very romantic people, but they don't talk about it. They don't mention it, or they don't get together like Western people do, or put their arms around each other, even in the shows. So I think they allow us to be their voice.
Oh, that's interesting.
And we've kept that relationship with them all these years. You know, when we first went to Japan, in the audience, at the side of the stage, they had traffic lights. They had red, green, and amber. And at the end of the song, the green light went on. They could applaud. Then it was amber. Then it was red. Boom! Stop. You couldn't applaud if the red light was on.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that's how polite they were. Of course, that's changed now, but there's still a trace of that. It's just a respect that the Asian people have. But I mean, we love going there. We must have been toured Asia maybe 30 times, you know.
Wow.
We go again in December.
There's a deer behind you walking by here.
Yeah, where are you now? There's a deer walking in your garden back there.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, you just walked.
There's a lot of them around here. Yeah.
Are you in a home?
I live on a ranch in Utah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, and I love kind of wild animals roaming around, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, we have a few here. Actually, bear are encroaching. We live in Connecticut, and the bear are coming this way, and a lot of sightings.
Oh, wow.
Bear sightings.
And
bobcats. Yeah.
Mountain lions too.
In Connecticut, really?
In Connecticut, I know they're coming, whether because of the climate situation, they're going more south. I mean, we're not in the south, but for them, maybe it's south. Coming from Canada, I don't know, but
well, I've heard that, although this probably doesn't apply to you out east, that a lot of animals are coming down because there's no water up high. You know, I live at 7,000 feet, and you know the mountains behind me go to 12,000, but there's no water up there because there was no snow this year.
Oh,
And
that's
they're
right.
all coming down,
Yeah, so there's no runoff.
But
Oh.
this guy, he hangs around all the time.
Do you have a name for him?
I think that was, did he have antlers?
No, this
No.
one didn't have a rack. No.
Oh,
Right.
they,
Miggs. Yeah.
I know, it's supposed to be cow. Yeah.
That's how you tell it's a female deer if it's got a rack.
So, wow. Okay. So what made you choose Utah to live in out of all the states to choose from?
Well, in 1990, we were playing at the MGM in Las Vegas, and we were doing 2 consecutive weekends. And normally in that instance, I lived in California, and I would go back to California on Sunday morning or Monday morning. But this time I decided to rent a car and not go home and just drive north for 4 days. And I didn't know where I was going. And I drove north and came into these incredible red mountains, and they blew me away. And I went, whoa. And it was just vast space. And the road just went north for like 200 miles without a curve. And I thought, this is interesting. So I came to this town, and I looked in the phone book, and I called a real estate agent up, and I said, I don't want to buy anything, but could we meet? I want you to tell me what's going on up here. And he said, yeah. So we met, we had breakfast. He was a real cowboy, and he became a really good friend of mine. And he showed me some properties in the area. And I said, oh, thank you, And the next day I called him up, and the first property he showed me, I bought the next day. And it was a house that was, it was a weekender for someone that had run out of money. And there was no walls or ceilings. It was just a beginning project. But it had 120 acres, and I just fell in love with it. And so I bought that. And then after that, I bought another 1,000 acres. So I have 1,200 acres here of wilderness that I love, Because I work in cities all the time. It's great to come back here and just contemplate and look at the stars. And I know, once again, it sounds very idyllic, but and it is for me. I have my studio here, my piano, my guitars. I don't need anything else. I can work. It's great.
So if you have to go to a store, how far do you have to travel? How many
miles? There's a store 6 miles away, and Park City, Utah, where there are like 40 5-star restaurants, is only 20 minutes away. So I'm not that far.
No, yeah.
But where I am, I don't have any neighbors. I'm out in the sticks, but I'm close to, a gas station and things like that if I want to,
Well, thanks so much. Tracy, the last question.
Oh, yeah, who are your musical idols that?
Oh, me, it's always been the Beatles and Paul McCartney, Yeah, being a songwriter. I mean, I'm really a songwriter that sings. And I play guitar and piano, but I don't play them well. But I play them well enough to play my songs. But I admire songwriters, and for me, there's no greater songwriter than Paul McCartney. That's certain,
Yeah.
But I've never met him, I'd love to meet him, but I never have.
Yeah, I actually resemble him now, and it's a little bit. You got the same eyes, I think. Anyway.
Well, he's a little bit older than me, but
yeah,
I'm born June the 11th. He's June the 18th.
Oh.
So it's funny. A lot of songwriters were born in that same time. Bob Dylan around the same, and so many others. It's frightening. I think Irving Berlin was around there too. Yeah, I'm getting all cosmic now.
No, no,
that's great. No, this has been a treat.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you, guys. It's my pleasure. Great conversation. I like it. Facts, very loose. It's cool.
Well, that's good to hear. Thank you. And
Yeah.
we'll hopefully we'll see you in hopefully we'll be in the audience in Stamford on October 23rd at the Palace Theater. And anyone else listening?
Thank you. I'll know who you are now.
Okay. we'll wave and you'll know.
Okay. Very much so.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.